Today on this 2016 Ram 1500, we're going to review and install the DeeZee Nerf Bars, part number DZ372233. Now our tube steps are also available in a gloss black finish as part number DZ372231. First glance, this is a good match to the truck. I like how the finish of the stainless steel actually matches up really close to the bumpers, I believe. So no matter what color your truck, you get the same chrome bumpers. This is going to work on any color truck you have. Our tube steps here have a 250-pound weight capacity. We have a nice impact, high plastic, UV resistant step here. Of course, our tube step itself is going to be created from stainless steel, 3-inch diameter. Now the brackets that install our tube steps to a truck are going to be powder coated steel. And what you can't see here, also the hardware all has an anodized finish as well. As you can see on the inside of a curve here, we have a mandrel bent tubing, so it allows for a smooth curve all the way back into the truck. A couple of dimensions for you. The steps here are going to be about 19.5 inches long from edge to edge. And overall, the tubes are going to be 73 inches from front to rear, matching your quad cab pickup. Now we've covered how it looks and then features of our Nerf bar, let's go ahead and show you how we installed it. First part of our install is to get our truck ready. We're on the driver's side here by the front wheel, and we need to pull back a sticker that's covering an access hole right here. Your truck may or may not have that, but most trucks have these stickers covering these access holes. Now there's a second sticker we need to remove that's below this bracket right here. And also inspect right here to make sure that there's a threaded fitting. If there is one, great. If not, it's not a big deal either. The hardware with the Nerf bars takes care of that problem. We have one right here, so we don't have to worry about that. Next up, we need to remove this body bolt right here. We have to remove it to get it down and out of the way. And we'll use an 18mm socket on this. When you break these loose, go ahead and do it by hand first, because sometimes the sealant inside will mess up the threads. Once you have it broke loose, then you can go ahead and take it off using a ratchet or an impact. We're done with the front of the cab. Let's go to the back of the cab, still on the driver's side. And this is the very back edge of the cab. And there's another access hole we have to open up. Pull back the tape here. Now you also want to inspect to make sure there's threaded holes at the bottom here. Again, your truck may have it or may not, but on our truck, it does have it. Let's take our first bracket, still at the back of the truck. It's this bracket right here. The two oval slots right here will go against this panel, like that. Let's install some hardware. We have this block with the bolt here and a nut. This is going to slide inside, just like this. Now we won't use the nut on the one side because that'd be used if there was no factory installed nuts right here. So we'll just leave the threads hanging out on this one right here. There's a clear little keeper that slides onto the bolt. You can actually thread it on. That'll hold the bolt assembly in place while you install the rest of our hardware and our brackets. Bracket into place. Then a flat washer goes over a top. Lock washer. And a nut. And this is all for a 12mm size bolt. We're just going to just leave it finger tight so we can still move it around. Install our hardware into the weld nut in the bodywork here. One little note, the bodywork's a little off a little bit at an angle, so it's kind of hard to thread it in. You feel like you want to go straight, but there's a little bit of angle going towards the ground. Again, we'll just leave it loose like that. And we'll move on to our bracket going back up to the front of the cab. Now, to install hardware in this hole here, we're going to provide a bolt leader, which does come with the Nerf bars. We'll run it in the hole we're going to use. And then through this hole, we're going to run it back out. And this time, this hardware is going to be a block with a bolt in it, and that's it. We'll thread that on to the bolt leader, just like a nut would. push this into the frame. And then pull it back out here. After the bolt's in place, we'll carefully remove the bolt leader by unwinding it, because you'll need to reuse this for the other side of a truck. Just like before, we got a clear tab to spin onto it to help hold it in place. Now we can work with our front bracket. It's the larger of two brackets. This hole right here will fit onto the bolt that we installed. Put a bracket in place, we'll add a matching flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Now move on to this side here into the weld nut, and we'll install this 8mm bolt, lock washer, flat washer, and of course the bolt. Again, we'll just put that in loose. Maybe just enough to take up the slack, but we can still move it around. If you don't have this weld nut, the hardware is provided. You would just do it like the other one, install it here. If you have a matching hardware, it would go into the bodywork. There's also a support bracket that goes from the body mount bolt that we removed earlier and down to this front bracket here. There is a left and a right to them. We got the slot that goes up towards the body bolt, and then this support here, or reinforced, that goes towards the front of a truck. All we gotta do is just put it up into place and reinstall the bolt. Again, we're just gonna just loosely install it until it stops, and we can still move our bracket around as needed. Let's get one of the Nerf bars ready. What I like to do when I install them is I just expose the ends here just enough to work with it, so I don't mess it up as I'm maneuvering it around the shop or anything like that, so I don't screw up the finish on it. There's a little plastic cap on the end that gets removed as well. A little easier to show you right now, but there's a matching 12mm bolt that threads into here that goes through the brackets, of course, flat washer and a lock washer. Let's run our bolt through two brackets, line up our tube step, and thread it into place. And again, just loosely install it. Let's go ahead and repeat the same process at the other end towards the back of the cap. Next up is going to be your largely personal preference. You can move these down up as needed, the way you want it to fit against your truck. So I like to have mine just a little bit above the edge right here, and I snug it down. At this point, now is a good idea to step back, take a look at it, maybe take out the packing material if you want, have it sit the way you want. Once you're satisfied with that, then we'll tighten up all the hardware underneath the truck. Now there's no torque specs listed on the bolts in the instructions, so you just want to get them hand tight and use your best judgment. Now this bolt here, you want to check with the manufacturer to see how much torque you need on that bolt. Everything fully installed, now's a good time to take off the packing material and have a great reveal. Ta-da! Now we had so much fun on the driver's side, let's go do that one more time over on the passenger side. And that'll finish it for a DeeZee Nerf Bars, part number DZ372233 on this 2016 Ram 1500.